Hey guys, so been a couple weeks since my last video went up. Filming these around like Christmas time as well, so work's very busy. But things have been going really well. I finished my cut last week, so this last week has just been about like slowly reversing out of my cut, but finished up losing just under 10 kilos. So I started it off, I believe, at like 78.4, I believe so. And then now I've actually ended up, I'm sitting, the lowest I got to was about 68.5, I believe. I'll double check, I'll put the numbers up on the screen so you can see the comparisons. Weight has slowly leveled out around like just below 69 kilos. So I'm very, very happy with this. Seeing a lot more fat loss than I was initially thinking when I actually stepped into this cut. Initially it was probably just it was just gonna be about 6 weeks. It ended up being 11 weeks. So a lot more weight loss, a lot longer spent in a cut, entirely because I got halfway through and I was like, this is feeling good. I'm not really struggling. And let's just see how far we can push it, really. I felt like I'd gone that far. I may as well just keep going. But the goal of today's video is to highlight some of the really big lessons that I have learned, but then a lot of the things that I was putting into practice and thinking about that really helped me see such good progress in regards to like losing weight, but while losing almost 10 kilos, which is probably, I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but probably about 50% of my body weight at the beginning, maybe even a little bit more. What has actually led me to see really good progress on that front, while also hitting lifetime PRs on a lot of my big lifts, but also my accessories. So the heaviest I've done on my RDLs, bench has actually, it hasn't got stronger, but technique has improved a lot. And my strength hasn't tanked on it, which for me, in a cut, losing 10 kilos of body weight, if you've benched and you've been in a cut while benching, you would know is probably one of the first things to just go absolute dog shit. It didn't though, which is amazing. So it maintained, performance-wise, it maintained, but technique has really, really improved and got a lot more consistent. So I'm really excited to push bench moving forward. But those two are the big ones that stand out for me. But then just overall on all of my accessories, this is the strongest I've ever been and ever felt across all my lifts in general. Big lifts, accessories, smaller movements, all of that. This is the strongest I've ever been. So I'm super stoked, if you can't tell, with losing this much weight, but then seeing the strength side of it as well and actually maintain the maintenance and the building of that strength over this. But today I'm just going to go through everything that really helped me nail my fat loss while maintaining muscle and actually getting stronger. And a lot of these will also apply to like a building phase that you're in as well. It's not just necessarily a cut. A lot of it's going to be more mindset related. So I've got a few dot points here that I'll run through. The first real big one for me was, in a cut, there's going to be bad days in regards to how I'm feeling energy wise. I don't want to do it. I don't want to stick with it. That's going to happen in general with any sort of training that you're doing, but especially in a cut, because you're dropping food, training's hard, energy's low. You're trying to, like in my case, I'm trying to perform really well in the gym, but also stay like on it at work, especially at this time of year when work's busy. So it's like lots of different fronts. So a few things that really, really helped me. Yes, there's like the meal timing and things like that, but I want this to be more like mindset related. So first one that's really helped me was initially at the beginning of this cut, get really, really clear on my goals and why I am actually doing this fat loss phase. Initially, the goal was just to set myself up for a really good build. After this, that was when it was just going to be a 6-week cut, but then it was like a 12-week cut. So double the amount of time, or 11 weeks. So very big difference in the timeline there. The reason why I wanted to challenge myself. Next year, I want to do two powerlifting comps. And then the following year, I want to step on stage and do a bodybuilding show. So very, very big goals that I've got. So I wanted to, not that I am bodybuilding lean at the moment, I'd probably still need to lose another 4 or 5 kilos for that. So this was a real good test for me to push myself as far as I have ever done before in a cut. This is the leanest I've ever been. So for me to get there, that was a very in my mind, a very okay, that's what we're working towards. Very, very clear on my goal and why. Because we want, on those bad days, that reason why your goal that you're working towards, that's going to be the thing that's going to get you out of bed and actually keep you on track with your nutrition, keep you training hard in the gym, because you know that goal is more important than the excuses that you start telling yourself. So that was a really big one for me. The other one is I started with a coach about 4 months ago. So having him there to keep me accountable, not in regards to, am I going to show up to the gym? But more of just like, yes, I'm working to this for myself, but I also don't want to let him down because he's putting a lot of time and effort into me every single week. Yes, I am paying him for it, but he's also putting a lot of his effort, and I can see that as well. And that's really paying off what he is telling me to do. So I don't want to get to the end of the week and be like, oh yeah, I went over my calories on these days, I missed the gym, or I didn't train that hard, I just didn't feel like it. I don't want to let him down. So that's something that's very underrated, is getting yourself a coach, especially if you know your goals are important to you. Because if your goals are important to you, yes, it's going to help to get someone more experienced than you to coach you through that and guide you through that. But just the accountability side. People think that they only really need the accountability when they are like a beginner, or if they're training in person because they feel that they need someone there to be in the gym with them. But it's also going to be for online coaching as well, because it's going to, either way, you're probably going to show up to the gym because that's what you like to do. But it's what you do in the gym and what you do in the kitchen outside of it that's really, really going to move the needle and matter the most. So having a coach or someone in your corner that is putting effort into it as well, and it's not just you, it's going to be a really, really important step to keep you consistent, keep you progressing, and seeing the best results you can. So the next one I have here, just to kind of, that helped me with that consistency, maintaining and actually building a little bit of momentum and staying on track, was prioritizing like time for myself, downtime to relax, but also a big part of that was allowing foods or a few meals a week that I was looking forward to. That might mean I eat a little bit less during the day, maybe on the weekends, but that means I can have a bit of a bigger dinner, and that just really allowed me to look forward to it, enjoy it, and it just kept my enjoyment and adherence a little bit better. But something that I did notice was, and I probably didn't notice this in the past because I never pushed a cut or a fat loss phase this aggressively and for so long, was that towards the end, foods I was craving, the only other two foods besides this was like bread and rice. Those were the two foods I was craving. But besides that, I was just craving more of what I was actually eating. So a really big one there is that the meals that you eat in your cut, we don't want them to be really, really boring. We actually want you to enjoy them. But that doesn't mean we put loads of like fat and oils and sugar and all that stuff in there to make it enjoyable. But you'll find that the healthy foods, or quote unquote healthy foods, you'll actually start to really enjoy that, and you'll start to look forward to that. And that's probably what you'll be craving. You'll just be craving more of everything that you're currently eating, which is a great place to be, in my opinion. But then you're not craving like the burgers. You might have that craving occasionally, but it's not going to come up as much. So just doing there as well as allowing yourself to actually enjoy your foods throughout the whole cut within reason, but having one or two planned meals, maybe a week or every few weeks, where you stay within your calories and your macros and you stay on plan, but it's a little bit different to your regular meal plan or meals that you would normally be eating, so that you can actually really enjoy it. Throughout it, I did have, I believe there was 3 like quote unquote like cheat days, cheat meals. One was my work Christmas party. We planned for that. That was about 5 weeks in, I believe, where I just had a weekend off, or like a Saturday off really. And I just allowed myself to have a few drinks. I allowed myself to, it was like a buffet sort of thing, but with steps, and it's one day. It's not gonna make a huge difference. And we planned for it as well. The second one was my birthday dinner. So obviously we want to allow yourself to enjoy that there as well. So I went out for a Greek food. That was really, really good. That was very enjoyable. And then straight on track the next day. There was one other one in there. I can't remember what it was, but I feel there was one other day in there where we allowed like a cheat days, cheat meal sort of thing. I can't remember off the top of my head. It might have actually only been those 2. So overall, it's allowing that sort of balance, but the balance that allows you to stay on track with your goals. And that's where a coach can come in to help, just to be like, no, don't do that. Or yes, allow yourself to have that weekend there where you enjoy yourself. Something to know, I'm like, this is a bit of a tangent and all over the place, but when you do have those like cheat meals or cheat days, is we don't go totally overboard. You go into it with a plan. You're like, okay, I'm going to go enjoy this. I'm maybe calorie banking earlier in the day, but as soon as that meal's done, we're back on track after that. So doing like your meal prep for the following day is a really good one. Just things like that. We want to make sure you can get back on track the following day. And that's where knowing yourself and even having a coach who knows you and your habits around situations like that can be like, okay, this is how we're going to best approach it for you individually. I know myself, I know I can almost in most cases handle those like cheat days, cheat meals, and then get straight back on track the following day. I'm very aware of that. I'm very aware of that myself. There has been things that have come up for me over this fat loss phase, just because it has been a lot longer, a lot more aggressive. But just something to note there is knowing yourself and having a coach that you work with for a long period of time is even better, because they will be able to know your habits and what worked for you last time and what didn't work, and then apply that moving forward. I'll continue with what I was saying in a minute, but I'm actually on holiday at the moment looking after someone's house, and it is fucking sick little place. They're away actually in Melbourne. I'm up in Byron Bay, but they've got a really nice house. You can see from this here, like this is the view heading into Byron. So plan for these few days is pretty much for me just to really relax. I'm going to do a little bit of training, off plan a little bit, not too much stuff. That just I'll training with my coach tomorrow, so we won't tell him that I'm going to do a little bit of arms and abs today. But I'll make sure it doesn't carry over into what I'm supposed to be doing tomorrow. But yeah, I'm going to train my coach tomorrow, which will be cool. I'm going to continue with like what we were saying before, with a few things that I was working on and that I found beneficial in my cut. But I just wanted to show you what this place was like. It's pretty sick here. Got a pool as well. So I'm going to keep talking to you while I make like a little bit of a pre-workout meal. It's only a light workout today. It won't be anything crazy. I'll do a little bit of abs, a little bit of arms. I'm going to make that. I'm going to continue talking to you, and then I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to do a little bit of abs, maybe a little bit of arms, just like some real basic stuff just to kind of get moving. They've got a treadmill, so I'm going to jump on that. It's pretty hot outside, so after that I will jump in the pool, and then I've got some work to do. So I don't actually have my normal like pre-workout meal, which if you follow me for a while, you know is cream of rice. Just because it's super cheap, it's easy. Once you make it and like you have a good recipe, it tastes good. It's just getting the recipe right. So what I'm going to do today, like I said, it's not a big workout, so I don't really need to have like a big meal. It's just something small, because this is pretty much my main like first meal of the day. I'm going rice pops, but I am mixing the normal ones and chocolate ones, because I want to. And then I'm just going to add some chocolate protein powder or chocolate honeycomb, which is the second best protein you can get from these guys. The first one is like a limited edition one, which is the chocolate brownie. So they only do it every now and then. But this one, I'm not sponsored or anything. I wish. Is that one there? So actually, something I'm doing over these 2 weeks, because I'm with family. I'm kind of in between houses as well, so it's really hard for me to track calories sometimes. So the whole goal is basically just to make sure I don't blow out and I lose a ton of the progress that I did get over the last 12 weeks. Is on days, training days look slightly different, but basically the goal is I will start the day either with no meal or just like a coffee, maybe just like a little bit of fruit, protein shake, something like that, or I'll just go nothing with some coffee and kind of fast until midday. And then that will be my first meal. And on those meals, really prioritizing lots and lots of protein. So I'm eating like lots of kangaroo steaks, kangaroo mince, things like that, chicken, just very high protein with a little bit of carbs. And then I'm having a lot of like frozen fruit and salads just to keep those calories low. But then that allows me, because I'll usually have like a dinner or one meal a day with my family. And then that allows me just to go in that, not even track anything, and just really enjoy it. Really prioritizing the protein, doubling up on the protein serves. And then from there, allow myself to enjoy maybe the cake or whatever else is there. Christmas Day will look a little bit similar to that. Really trying to, like, if I'm going in for seconds on the protein. It's going to be very challenging to overeat and overindulge on protein. It's very satiating, which can help with that, not overeating it. But also that's going to help fill me up, so there's less chance of me maybe overeating on the cake or whatever else we have there, which might be more of like a fat or a carby source of food. I wouldn't always recommend that to people. This is similar to what I was saying before, is that we've got to know yourself and know what you can and like can't handle, basically. I know for myself, if I fast, that's fine. It's not really good. It's not going to instill any bad habits in me. Some of my clients, if I told them to do that, they would do that, and then it would instill a lot of bad habits moving forward, or just a bad mindset around food and the ways to eat it. I know for myself, that's not going to happen. This is really just to control my food intake without me overeating and then going backwards with my progress. And I'm enjoying that. Like that, this is actually something I spoke about with a client the other day. Was it's finding a balance that allows you to enjoy yourself, but also allows you to stay on track. That's going to look very, very different for every single person. This is the balance that me and my coach came to that is going to work really well for me, because I was like, I don't want to lose all this progress. I know I can lose fat very, very quickly. So we could always just jump into another 2-week cut at the end of this and then drop any fat that I have gained, if I gain any. But I was like, no, this is a very easy approach. On days I train, I'll probably just have this before, and then everything else will be the same. That's what I was saying to you before. So it's knowing yourself, knowing what you can handle, and then implementing that. This is going to work really well for me. Like I said, I know myself. My coach knows me reasonably well. I probably wouldn't use this strategy on some people just because we don't want to instill those bad habits. So another really common thing, and I used to believe this in regards to like fat loss phases, and a lot of people still kind of have this in their mind, is that when you get into a fat loss phase, your energy is going to tank and you're going to lose a ton of strength. There's a few reasons why that could happen. First one, very bluntly, is that you have set your calories and or macros and also potentially your meal timing really, really poorly, and you've just got a shit plan. That's one reason. The second reason is that you are in a very, very extreme or very, very long calorie deficit. Those are the two reasons why we could see or why that can happen. If you're in a cut for just a few weeks, if things are structured in a efficient and just they have a good structure to them, training and nutrition and meal timing and things like that, then you shouldn't really see much strength loss. Maybe a little bit, depending, like maybe with some of your bigger compound lifts, but that's going to be very, very individual. But overall, you shouldn't really be seeing much strength loss. There will be the odd workout where you go and feeling really low energy and you just can't push out the numbers that you were hitting. But the main point I bring this up is, lots of people say this, but the main reason I'm like a really, really like trying to preach this at the moment is because if you go into your training with a mindset of like, fuck, I'm in a fat loss phase, I'm not going to perform as well, that's already telling yourself that you're going in weaker. You want to go in, and this is something that I did every single training session I did, even on the ones where I was feeling like absolute trash, was I've got to go in today, I've got to beat my reps and or weight from last week. Sometimes I didn't, but majority of the time, and so much more, majority of the time I actually ended up beating my reps and or weight and achieving that. Sometimes I didn't, but I went into every single session with the mindset of I'm going to do more, I'm going to be better than last time. And just having that mindset going into your training instead of having the mindset of, oh, I'm weak today, I'm just going to try. If I can, I can. But if you look at both those mindsets, it's going to be way better to have the one of going in like, okay, I've got to progress from last week. Obviously, we want you to keep good technique and standardize your reps and all that. That is going to come first. But having that mindset is going to be really, really important, because the signal we're doing with your training is to get stronger. But the reason we want that to be very, very high in a fat loss phase, and outside of this as well, like in maybe a maintenance or a building phase as well, but we're talking specifically about fat loss phase, is that signal of you trying to get stronger and training hard and pushing for strength is going to be telling your body, it's sending the signal that we need muscle, we need strength. So therefore it's going to be trying to build muscle. It probably won't because you're in a fat loss phase. So therefore you're going to maintain as much muscle as possible. Whereas if you go in and you're pulling back the reps, you're pulling back the weight a lot, you're not training very hard because you have that poor mindset, then that could be where you start to lose a little bit more muscle. And the whole goal of a fat loss phase is to drop as much body fat as possible while maintaining as much muscle as possible. And we do that with nutrition, but with that mindset of actually staying as strong as possible throughout a fat loss phase. So that's sending the signal to build muscle, which you might not do in a fat loss phase, but it's going to help you. If we send the signal to build muscle, that at the very least will help you maintain as much muscle as possible. It's a good mindset to have outside of this maintenance phase or a building phase, as well as that's obviously going to be sending the signal to build muscle. Just something to really focus on there, because that was what I spoke about before, and then that mindset, those were the two biggest things that I was really focusing on, and like every day, that was my focus. I was working through those. I was thinking about my goals. I was like, okay, I've got to go in. I've got to get stronger. Everything was around that. And that, I strongly believe that those few things here that I've spoken about were hands down the reasons why I got as lean as I did, dropping 9 kilos of body weight, probably around 15% of my body weight at the start of that, while getting stronger on my accessories and actually hitting lifetime PRs. You can see I'm very passionate about this because I used to be that guy whenever I'd go into a fat loss phase, I was thinking, oh, okay, I'm weaker now, so I'm not gonna perform as well. And that was just a placebo for my brain and for me not to train hard. So I'm gonna stop that there because I could just keep running on tangents about that. The goal for these weeks is to have some downtime with my family, recharge, do a little bit of work, and just slowly reverse out of this, especially over the coming months as well from my cut. The goal for next year, like I said before, is 2 powerlifting comps. So I'm gonna be running through what that process looks like for me, basically. I haven't squatted in over a year with a barbell at least, and I haven't done any deadlifts from the floor in probably longer than that. So bench press is really the only one that I have been doing consistently this last year. So I'm going to be filming and documenting everything on how me and my coach are reintroducing the barbell lifts from squats to deadlifts and continuing with my bench press. And then also how I continue to slowly reverse out of this and build muscle. So I want to put on a bit of size leading into these comps. So that's the goal for next year. Get back to squatting, deadlifting and benching, 2 powerlifting comps. And then at the end or going into the following year is bodybuilding. So I'm super excited. This is the most fun I've had with my training in a really long time. As some of you may have heard, if you followed me for a while, I did have a bit of a back issue. That's all gone now, which is fucking great. So I'm gonna finish it there. I'm gonna eat this. I'm gonna go do a little bit of like off-plan training, bit of cardio, go for a swim, and then do more work. Probably edit this. But as always, any questions, let me know. If there's anything that you guys actually want to know about what I am doing with training, nutrition, or just anything in general, comment them below or either send me a message over on Instagram. I'm always looking to share as much as I can to you guys if it's going to help you guys get a bit better results with your training and nutrition, or just give you a bit of a hand. So definitely shoot me questions, comments in the DMs, and if you're not already, hit subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.